Hey, Shalom, Israel. Hey, how y'all doing, man? This is Brother Karatazar from SOZ Houston.
Shalom, shalom. It's Brother Potter Wafi from SSE Houston.
Shalom, brother. You call SOZ Atlanta.
Hey, and this is the episode of Blow That Trumpet.
Hey, stay on that pivot, man.
Hey, all praise to the Most High. So happy to be able to come back to another episode. And as you can see, the world is heating up, and there's so many events that are going on recently and continuously that we got to make sure we report with integrity, right? So this week we got a really good episode coming through. We have some conversations about like the Eerie solar eclipse about to happen. You know what I mean? Down here in Texas, you got the crazy border blitz going on. So, hey, you got Nukem Putin right now getting mad with the French because they trying to invade Russia right now, and got some ancient diseases plaguing Florida right now, some leprosy spreading. So we're gonna go through this episode through the Spirit, Lord willing, and we're gonna crank it off with our first precept like we always do. So we're gonna bring out the book of Colossians 3:17, and it reads, "And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to Yah the Father, to Yahweh and the Father by Him." So that's the first thing that should always be in your spirit, man. Is always remember, whatever you speak and everything you do all in the name of the Lord, through the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, in honor of the Most High God, man. So you don't ever feel like you short stepping or doing anything with insincerity and without integrity and uprightness, because the Lord is always watching. So any brother got another precept they want to bring out?
Khan, Salaki, let me get in there, man. All right, let's go with that classic Habakkuk.
There you go, King. You want me to read that for you?
Please, if you could.
This is the book of Habakkuk 2, verses 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
Right. I need everybody to be watching, man. The Lord wants every person to be watching, right? And as you go out throughout the day, man, some people, they work overnight, so they up at night. Some people, they work during the day, so they up during the day, man. But we're a community, right? We are a people, man. And it's very important that we watch, we pay attention, and we let people know what's going on their sides of the earth, or just what's going on in general, man. Because what? We're going to have to answer the Most High God when He reproves us, man. When we're going through that affliction. So that's why it's extremely important that we always do what, man? Having open ears and open eyes, man. Because we're no longer asleep, man, but we're awake. And when you're awake, you can see the things that's going on, and you have the ability to wake other people up and let them know. Khan.
That's a mighty point. Can you give me the book of Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1?
This is the book of Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip.
Right, because it could be any moment, we have 1,000 things that go through our heads already as it is, in captivity in our day-to-day lives, but this word comes first before everything, as well as the prophecy going out, throughout the world. So we have to give the more earnest heed to these things rather than the things, of vanity, things of the world, so that they don't slip from our minds, so that we don't forget about these things. This is our first love. These are our first works. So we got to make sure to give more earnest heed and pay a little bit more attention to the things that's going on in the world and inside this word, because we don't want these things to slip from our mind. Next thing you go on from doing, something righteous, then you kind of over time forgetting how to do certain things. You're forgetting how to, you just small things build up. So little side note, definitely give more earnest heed to the things that are before us, lest we, or less that any time we should let them slip. Right. You got it, King.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. You understand? So this is the reason why we're doing all this right here, right now. So just getting into it, let's jump into our first topic, right? So we already know that there's been a lot of talk for a lot of months about the certain event that's supposed to be coming through, that's supposed to be game changing, that's supposed to be different than anything that ever happened in the last 365 years. We got this eerie eclipse, man. But let's say it like this. You know, all of this stuff that is being pronounced, all these things that are happening are coming from what? The old ways, right? The old days. So before I jump into that episode, that article, I do want to bring this one of my favorites my brother brought out. He said, Jeremiah 6 and 16, thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old path. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest of your for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And this is what we're trying to bring out to you guys, that look, this is the old paths. So the things that you're about to watch happen, these are the old paths. These are the things that were mentioned in Matthew 24 about the coming of Yahweh Shai and the end of the world, and the world to come, for the fall of the world of Esau and the rise of Jacob, man. These are all the good things. And we're telling you, hey, listen to what we're saying. Prepare thyself for these events that are happening. That's the good way. How do you prepare yourself for the good way? It's by keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, right? And we're telling you, walk therein. And if you're doing those things, you start seeing this destruction that we're about to go over. You start seeing these events that people are going to be dismayed at, the stars and the moons and the skies and different things like that. You're gonna have, rest in your soul. You're not gonna, have that anxiety, right? But a lot of our people will not hearken. But the Lord charged us as the brothers of Israel to do what? I also set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. So when we say we're gonna blow that trumpet and stay on our pivot, we're telling y'all this is the trumpet that the Lord told us to blow for you guys in these last days. So just like you guys can see and be dismayed with the things you can see, be also spiritually dismayed about the things that you can see through the spirit and through not just only through the flesh. But jumping into the first article about the Eerie solar eclipse, let's see what's going on, man. Let's see how we can let's dissect this a little bit. So it says in this article, that a report that says states warning people to stock up on food before 2024 solar eclipse. Could we experience the prophecy of 3 days of darkness? And when you start seeing stuff like this, these people are not wise within the spirit, because obviously, first off, who did the Lord show his secrets and judgments to? Jacob. So if it's not an Israelite keeping the Lord's statutes and commandments, you're not filled with the spirit of prophecy and righteousness. You don't. And then if you're not even a heathen, if you're a heathen, who did the Lord make to be the prophets of his people, even thus of the children of Israel, right? So you got to be very cautious about seeing certain things, Israel, that come from non-Israelites, come from, even if it's an Israelite, if you can look at their countenance and see that they're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you would be very, very cautious of what you receive through the flesh of what you receive, instead of through the spirit of what you dissect and discern, right? So let's go over this and read. Let's hear what this article has to speak on.
The fact that they're telling people that they need to stock up on food supplies for 3 months, for a 3-month time period, or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of a total solar eclipse. And a lot of people could be like, oh, well, that's just because they're a small town. Like, really? They need numerous military personnel for a small town. Do you know how many small towns have actually been in the totality path in the past? A lot. I don't know about you, but this just screams EMP. Supposedly, according to Hugh Cutcher, a data scientist for solar power forecaster Solcast, most of the continental U.S. will experience a significant drop in solar generation. Kind of ironic that just last year.
And did you hear what he said? It sounds like an EMP, right? Who knows the sword of better than Esau, right? So when his little radars and antennas are going up and saying, hey, man, I'm an Edomite. And this sounds like some Edomite stuff that we would do. They're trying to blind you with misinformation. And then behind it, they're going to do an attack on you. And then because your people are so simple, they're going to tie it. Well, the solar eclipse caused this. You understand? So continuing.
Here, the U.S. and Mexico had a proposition to ban solar panels. But supposedly, ironically, in Texas, as if nothing else has happened in Texas in the past year, will be heavily impacted by the effects of the eclipse. Solcast projections suggest that, should the skies be clear that day, because the eclipse will occur in the middle of the day, ERCOT solar production will suddenly drop from nearly 15,000 megawatts to around 1,000 megawatts before returning to normal, or supposedly returning to normal.
And also, what's also going on in Texas, right, guys? Like, you see the border crisis, that they're basically trying to act like they're trying to succeed from the state, the union, right? So they're challenging the federal government. All of a sudden, you had the El Paso fires, right? Burning up all kind of land, cattle, substance of the state of Texas. Now you got the old unleashing the borders, which is, to me, I'm like, that's fine. They should have no restriction on it, because they shouldn't even have the control over the borders in the first place. But the wicked or that's what the Lord said. They're gonna have the balance set by the wickedness, right? And now you have also what, an EMP potentially to come and knock down any of the power grids that Texas currently has, just so to make sure that now their food, their land, and now their power infrastructure, which is going to affect their water. All of these things are gonna, you're basically gonna cripple, like you're attacking silently this one of your own states because they're rebelling against the body. And this is what he's basically breaking down. Anybody got something to say to that or continue?
I got something to say real quick, man. Right. Can you give me the book of Genesis 1 and 14? I want to make something make sense to everybody right here. Genesis 1 and 16, Salakia. I want to show you something real quick, man. Read that for me, Baba Kishal.
This is the book of Genesis 1 and verse 16. And Yahweh made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
So hold up. The Lord describes the sun and the moon as lights. Right? When can light block out light? It can't. That's the point of what I'm bringing out right now, right? This is Esau's witchcraft and sorcery, man. They are wiser than Daniel, right? Did not they do the same miracles that Moses did when they say when he came and told Pharaoh to let Israel go? Didn't they turn the water into blood? Didn't they turn their staffs into serpents? Right? Esau is very up. He's up now on his technology and on his witchcraft and his sorceries, man. Right? And now he's found out how to do things like this, man. And he's going to do it with his witchcraft and his sorcery, man. Let's get something real quick. Can you give me the book of Isaiah, chapter 14? And I want you to start at 13, Baba Kasha.
Isaiah 14 and 13?
Yeah. Matter of fact, before that, give me Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 18. I'm sorry. I should have told you that. Salakia.
No problem, King. Wisdom of Solomon 7
and 18.
Gotcha.
This is according to Solomon. And he's trying to tell you everything that he knows. Go ahead.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, 7 and verse 18. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the changes of seasons.
So Solomon, he knew the alternations and the turning of the sun, right? Right. When it comes to it, hey, not once in the scriptures do you see an eclipse happen. The Lord said he blocks out the sun, right? Meaning, hey, he'll stop the light from shining. But even when you dive into the Wisdom of Solomon, it'll tell you, hey, only people who couldn't see the light were the Egyptians, man. But that small ghetto where Israel was dwelling, hey, they had light. They was able to get the light from the fire, right? So when it comes down to it, man, right, we know that what? The sun is on one side, the moon is on the other, right? And they alternate. And they're opposites to each other, right? Not once should they ever cross, man. So this is happening to what? Esau's sorcery and his trickery, man, right? Give me that Isaiah 14 and verse 13, Bakasha.
Isaiah 14 and 13?
Khan, please. We're going to read down to verse 14, if you could. And this is going to Esau, man. Nothing else but Esau. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah 14 and verse 13. And it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Verse 15. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
What does that last part say?
I will be like the Most High.
So these Edomites, this wicked nation of Babylon, they want to be like the Most High. And what does the Most High do? He tells you before he does something, man. And that's what these Edomites, they're trying to be like him, so they're going to try to use that same quality, right? That's why they are top law in Satanism is what? They must tell you before they're able to do it. Because they want to be like the Most High, man. Right, Salaki, real quick, the sister asks, brother, should we have solar panels on your house? Sister, I would tell you this, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to it, if you want to do that, that's fine. But when it comes to things like the wilderness, you might not have your house. So what I would tell you is, you know what I'm saying? do what's good for your spirit, but also be prepared, understand that these things are carnal, these things are physical. The Most High is going to be the one that make sure you get what you need. So in the wilderness, be ready to forsake that safe dwelling that you have and depend on the Lord, man. Karate, you want to eat on that question that she asked
Yeah,
real quick?
let's just jump on that real quick. And I'll say this also, sister. Consider the times and the things that we're just discussing right now, right? Uh, you see that Esau has like tools that easily can disrupt anything infrastructure, right? So if they decide to do, let's say like this Edomite right here, he just basically was breaking down that they're going to use something called an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse, right? It just what it does is it fries out any electrical components, right? So you may have a system set up like a solar panel, but if it has any chips or hardware that is computerized or magnetic, or it's going to just basically fry it where it doesn't allow it to work anyways, right? So yeah, so I would say that at the peak of his wickedness, he already has devices that he's been planning for over a century. I would even go to say that, to destroy the people of his land, to maintain his integrity and power, lack of integrity, but his empowerment over the land by any means. And so having that will definitely not probably benefit, because if they do unleash anything like an EMP which destroys electronics, it's not going to benefit you. And going back to what the brother said, um, literally, hey, the Lord will feed us, and he said, my people will drink, my people will eat, my people will have light, my people, like just like in the wilderness, hey, by day we had the cloud covering us, and by night we had a pillar of fire surrounding us. So there was never a need for us to even have to consider what we could do for ourselves. The Lord always will guide us with his light, and always shelter us with his shade.
Hey, Salakia, your call, I think, wanted to have something
Hey,
to say. Go ahead.
drop down that comment, King, so we can see you.
Kind. Real quick, if you could give me Second Corinthians 4 and 18, just to let me back on your point, because and this isn't just for Hebrew daughter, of course. This is for everyone. The things that we see, they're temporary. These are just physical attributes. Superficial. These are things that we acquire, that we know is going to come a time that we're never going to see again, right? This is Second Corinthians 4 and 18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal, right? So it's all about building up that faith and leaving it in the hands of the Most High, because at the end of the day, this is something that the heathen fear, right? Can you give me a Jeremiah 10 and verse number 2?
Con.
Because these things, again, these things that we see, these houses that we have, whether you rent or own, the jobs that we have, the cars, these are temporary, you know. So I wouldn't put all my eggs and trust in a basket, you know, and going to say, give out advice, we need solar panels or anything, even though sis said, she doesn't trust them. All praises, because you can't really, get past anything Esau tells us, right? But it says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Because the heathen will tell you, you kind of need a bunker. The heathen, and the Lord said, we're going to be snatching them up out of the cluster of the rocks, right? He's going to send forth many hunters. So that, Esau will tell you, you need a bunker, you need to fill up on fuel. What good is a fuel going to do if there's going to be an EMP attack and most of the cars are now, electric, you know? So it says, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. The heathen, they're looking at the skies and like, oh, what's going on? What's that? Imagine the mind of a Buddhist, like what's going on through their mind? What is prophesied in their book? What do they got going on for them when these things start to reveal themselves? Because we see these things were told to us, years and years ago. We could read about these things anytime, right? What does the Buddhist have? What does the Ishmaelite have to kind of give them reassurance that everything's going to be all good?
You know what they have? Their wise sayings like Confucius. Look at yourself in the moving still river, and look upon the sky for the reflection of your soul, to see the gravel of rocks you step on, and everything is be good. what did you just say to me, bro? You
Right,
didn't say much or nothing. Give me some fortune cookie knowledge, right? You
right.
know, so yeah, man. It's a lot. Didn't mean to cut you off, King.
No, that's a good point. You good, King. You know, that's a good point. Like they align their chakras and they charge their crystals and things of that sort. But what is it going to do for them when there's an eclipse? Do you charge your crystals? Are they supercharged? Like how does that work? How is your chakras lined up? Are they off balance? Is your chi off balance?
I
You
think they
get
really
this downward
like
dog.
they go Super Saiyan, bro. Start glowing and become their own light source. You know what I mean?
It was one point in time, Jake, he thought he was getting the super. Y'all remember when Jake thought he was getting them superpowers a
Egg,
while ago?
egg.
he had the day mark that came in and everybody was quiet, So these, if it's not in the scripture, then we seriously can't believe it, even if it comes from our people, because there's going to be doctrines and philosophies. I want to get off the point, but it's gonna come, doctrines and philosophies, but if it's not of the Lord, we can't learn the way of the heathen, and we can't be dismayed at the signs of heaven, and we can't, build upon something that's temporal. We got to look at the things that are eternal.
And kind of,
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
it.
I was gonna I'll give one after you. I want to land me back right off of that real quick.
No, go ahead, go.
No, go ahead, King. It's on you.
No, because mine's gonna be a transitional. So
Okay,
go.
well let me land this last one. So ultimately, to sum it up, this is what I feel like. I think brothers can agree to this scripture right here. This is kind of where we're gonna go with it. Just so we can understand all the way through, no matter what's presented in these days to come. This is definitely going to be your source of refuge, right? It says right here, Psalms 46:1. Yahweh is our refuge and strength, a very pleasant help in trouble. So there's nothing that you're going to need more than the Most High in the day of trouble. Ain't no damn solar panels. There's no gun that you can have. There's no place you can hide. There's nothing you can do unless your refuge. You're only going to be saved and safe and secure if this is your refuge and your strength. And that's what I'm gonna yield with that. So that's all I wanted to bring out, sisters. So don't trust in nothing but the refuge and strength of our Lord, because that is a very, very present help in trouble. It's a very present. So the Lord will be near you, and you will be in the presence of the Lord during the time of your troubles if you are using Him, submitting to the Lord, keeping His commandments, having the faith of Yahweh Shai, being diligent and sincere, and loving to do these things and loving the affliction of the Lord. You gotta love the affliction just as much as you love the blessing. Man. You understand? Just like a good kid, man. A kid, you got a couple types of kids, man. You got hard head ass kids that no matter how much you try to show them that you love them, no matter how much you whoop their ass, they always gonna have a hateful heart, and they always gonna have themselves, and they're gonna be full of their pride and always run to destruction and never ever see the love of the parent, right? And then you have another child that they're learning their ways, they're trying to make it through, and then they get heavily disciplined because they make a horrible mistake. But then they reflect and be like, man, that was my fault. Man, I can see the pain in my father's eyes when he had to discipline me so strongly because of what I did, disappointed him. But I know he did that because he loved me. So I'm gonna do better as myself. Always be that child. Because that's where you're gonna get that help. Because if you have a child and you look at them and that's the spirit they come back, man, even if they made a mistake, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go above and beyond because now you see that they got a good spirit and you want to push them forward towards a better life and a better road because they care and respect and love you as a parent that disciplines. So look at the Lord like that, and you always have that refuge and strength behind you because you respect and you love the Lord as He is truly your Father, not just an image. And that's a term people say, right? Oh, the Lord, my Father. How do you just say that without feeling that? You know what I mean? Like, that's my child. I can't just say that's my child and be like, oh, that's just a kid. No, every time I look at my child, I feel love. Every time I think of my children, I think of love. Every time I see, that's how you got to think about when you talk about, use the word, this is my Father, the Most High. You got to think on His name or feel the name that you're speaking. Feel it in your heart, the love you have. Like, damn, that's my Father, man. I love Him. I don't want to disappoint Him. I want to be in His strength. I want to be in His refuge, and I want His discipline. And just as much, and I love the way He disciplined me, just as much as he rewards me when I do good. That's what you got to do in order to get the refuge and the strength and be secure in these last days. You got to love that. So go ahead, King. Transition with that.
Con, right. So I think brothers kind of hit the nail on the head, man. Right. If you want to get those things, sis, go ahead. But always remember, man, it might come a day where you're gonna have to forsake all things, right? Your phone, your house, right? Your security, the food that's in your house. You know, but I will tell you is this: definitely make sure you have food in your house. Right. That's if I was in that area, the first thing I'll do is make sure I got food in the house. That's it.
And water.
And water, of course. Right. So but there's more things that's going to be going down that I do want to make sure everybody's prepared for. Right. Because not only are they doing this, but let's see what else they're doing with those immigrants, man.
Yeah. Let's slide over to that. Right.
I think that will go perfectly with this.
All right. Let me just read this article top real quick because the brother bringing that out, man. Because this is the orders of chaos, right? What the Lord say that borders will be crossed in these last days, man. People are going to be going into different lands, and a lot of these people are from Southern America, right?
Yeah.
So that be that they're going back to the land that they actually feel like they come from. A lot of the times, a lot of the places that people are. America's been a place where it's been like a vault, like a bank. You can't get in it and you can't get out of it. But now, with the doors open, you know what I mean? And shit, people are going back to where they could have came from the beginning after they crossed over through the Euphrates, obviously. You know what I mean? And also, they're trying to make sure that there's chaos because they want to establish that order. But it says over 100 migrants break through razor barriers and rush guards in El Paso. So they're risking infection, tetanus, bleeding out, cutting of yourself, and death to rush into another land with armed men. So let's read. It says a group, Salakia, Esau need to get his ugly face off the camera. A group of over 100 migrants attempted to enter the U.S. illegally. That's hysterical. By rushing a border wall Thursday, breaking through razor wire and knocking over guards in the process. The Post had earlier witnessed around 600 migrants massed at the international border as a part of a spring surge of migrants hoping to gain access to the U.S. The Texas National Guard was attempting to organize them into smaller groups, but the situation grew tense after some women and children were separated from adult males by the guardsmen. Don't that seem very convenient? Go ahead. You're on mute.
You're on border patrol. How do you allow somebody to knock you over as a guard?
But you got a big old gun strapped to your chest.
Yeah, I'm sure you got armor, you got whatever it takes. Not only did they break through a razor fence, but something's not adding up, man. Something's a little fishy.
Yeah. But they said what? A video was taken, right? And so let's look at the video real quick. This isn't the same video, but it says a video, one set of migrants, mostly single men, then rushing the Texas troops, right? They're unarmed, rushing armed guards, National Guards, Border Patrol, after being injured through razor wire, and they're able to overcome them, right?
That's how you know this stuff is really for show, man.
Exactly. Let's check it out. Let's look what it looks like. It looks like they're letting them. And now you see the dude hit them.
What is the point of the gun? They have guns. What's the point of the guns?
The lock. Pause that real quick. Can y'all hear me? Con.
Yeah, we got
you. I think you're on a delay on my phone, King.
No, we hear you.
Okay, Con. Hey, see what Issachar got to go through just to get back into his own land, right? But you can see countless videos of what the so-called Chinese man right? The so-called Russian, man, when they cross the border, they go into the gap in the fence, man, and they ain't got to worry about nobody. They just walk through with no problems. They ain't getting guns pointed at, right? And I think we had a video about that a while ago, man, showing how the Chinese they was getting over here with pamphlets telling them where to go and how to get over here.
The idea is to
We, as Israel, got to go through all of this, being cut open, having guns, you know what I'm saying, pointed at us. That's what it's supposed to be. And they can just come over here willy-nilly, man.
Let's take a real quick. Let's just take a quick look at what it looks like.
What if I told you that instead of setting up a green screen, you can
go ahead, but yeah, make your point though. But let's just look, because that's a mighty point. Let's see what this.
China's president. We turn now to a story about the big increase in Chinese migrants. Arrested more than 24,000 Chinese people for crossing the U.S. southern border illegally over the past year through September. That's more than 10 times higher than the previous year, and part of the over.
So the last year, hold up, take this. You got this?
Yeah, I see it.
Click on it real quick.
Okay, you went on mute, King. Right. So you see how they was walking in a single file line. Ain't nobody yelling, ain't nobody kicking or screaming, right? Ain't nobody being hurt. But for Ishikar, it's the total opposite, man. It's chaos. It's hell on earth, man. Right? There's something going on. Isn't China supposed to be America's enemy? So what's truly going on, man? A whole bunch of lawlessness and wickedness, man. Right? You had a precept?
Con, that just goes to show there has to be a level of sorcery, a level of, there has to be something that America, a song that America is playing. I'll put it like this to make it simpler, right? Back in school, we was taught about the mermaids and the sirens, and the sirens would play music and lure the pirates to the damn shore or wherever the mermaid was located, and they would take them out, right? America is like that siren. You got a point, King?
No, correct that. We see what you're doing on the screen, King. Just letting you know.
Right. America is like that siren. I could remove the screen if I need to. Right. America is like that siren, that's leading people to death, man. Right. It's causing people to kind of go be led into this what's it called? This American dream, right? This delusion of having an American dream, right? But you don't really, there is no promises there, man, right? So a lot of people they're getting sucked into this false reality, this false hope, right? Then they kind of try to leave, man, right? I'm gonna get this precept, right? This is the book of Revelation 18 and 23. It says, "And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee." That American dream is coming, it's collapsing. Nobody wants to be in America like that, right? A lot of nations are starting to see, America's really not amped up as it is when they heard about it overseas. The opportunity really ain't there. It's there for the nations, but it really ain't there. It's really not like how it was anymore, right? America got all these problems that other nations really ain't facing like that. Even third world countries not facing the problems America got, right? America's really a third world country in disguise.
Yeah,
right? It's ridiculous, man. You can't get health care, right? You go into debt if you go to the doctor for getting a scrape on your knee, right? You sick, you go to the doctor, or you take a few sick days off. Now you're behind on rent, right? It says, food. Nobody can afford the food. Nobody can afford the water, right? The water's filthy. Everything's nasty here, right? Even the air. You talk to somebody who just came from vacation from Puerto Rico, and they tell you the air actually felt like it was actual air, man. They come back here, they got a bunch of sinuses and coughing and wheezing, right? They got to literally readjust to the pollution of America, to the smog, right? To the dirt in the air. You got it, King.
Hey, Salaki, and people went around, the so-called Chinese man will walk around America with a mask on all day and night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not, people, they're not used to the filth and pollution of America, man. They're not used to the filth and pollution of the air, right? I'm
Uh,
gonna
go ahead, King. I got a precept. I got to point out to you.
Khan, I'm gonna bring up Revelation 18 and 23 again. It says,
That's the spirit. Go ahead.
"And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived." So by America's sorcery, right, all the nations were deceived into thinking this is a great paradise, man. I can kind of have it made in America. Freedom, this, liberal, that, you know. Back in other countries, there is no, you can't have that gay marriage, right? You come to America, you could kind of marry a tree, you can marry a car, you can marry an animal and a Ferris wheel. You could kind of do whatever you want. They have certain liberties, quote unquote liberties, right, that other nations don't have, but it's not for good, right? It's for evil, right? They're vices in disguise, but a lot of people see them as this is a liberal thing. America's that land of the free, home of the brave. I could kind of fit in here. I could start a family here. We could kind of get away with things that we couldn't back on the homeland, right? And that's the deception that America throws out. It's pleasing, all that glitters ain't gold. It's pleasing on the outside and great on the outside, looking in, right? But it's literally to destroy your soul, to destroy your spirit, right? And to deceive you and to weaken the nations, right? The scriptures talk about how America weakened the nations, right? A lot of, and this is the last point I'm gonna make, a lot of people that come to America, they're soft, they're not who they used to be, right? They get so laxed, and caught up in the ways of America, they forgot, what life is on the outside. They become brand new. They forget their customs, their traditions, right? How is it that you went from these I'll say these Asians, for lack of better terms, a lot of our people, they don't know the term Moabites and Ammonites, right? But a lot of these Asians, and they was kind of hardcore when you kind of read upon their dynasties and things that they was doing back then. They was kind of hardcore. Now they come to America, they're wearing Sperry and polo. They are, they play golf. You know, they're not who they used to be. These nations, they're not who they used to be, right? They got their shirt tucked in with the belt kind of, tight as hell, you know, and they're speaking perfect English, man. They come to America, they succeed, do great in school, dominating, right? But this isn't who they used to be. This isn't you, right? This ain't us, right? But you got it, Potter.
Hey, Khan, man, and what's going on right now? Truly, can you pull a precept for me on the screen, Baba Shaw? Khan, I want Revelations 18 and 2, man. I'm gonna show you what's going on secretly. Right, we got the physical the carnal aspect of it, right? There's a lot of people getting their way into America, right? There's a lot of people taking over and prospering in this place, right? The borders are being open, all right. But let's see what spiritually is going on. You on mute, King, if you don't mind reading that for me.
Oh, Salak. Right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
So that's what's going on spiritually. The Most High is grabbing all these unclean spirits, these hateful spirits, these foul, dirty spirits, these devils, and he's gathering them up in America, man. That's how when he does destroy, this prophecy is going to happen, man. And that's what's going on with the spiritual life, man. And so you see people trying their best, right, to get here, man. And you who's to say how bad that traveling was on the way over here, man? Kind of starving, right? Being hungry, children going missing, people dying on the way to kind of stepping over bodies just to try to make it over here to Babylon, man. A place that's meant for destruction, right? So we got to be paying attention in these last days. Right? Hey, Salakia King, I'm about to head to work. Do you want to pull up that next article? You on mute?
Con, I'm pulling it up right now.
Con.
1 second.
Should be the France and the Russia, man.
All right, let's see. I got it pulled up. Let me see. Share my screen. All right, let me share this tab to the spirit, and I'm gonna just let it play. Share this tab instead.
Optometrist for good. Did you know that vision impairments have nothing to do with your eyes? The eyes are simply a camera for the part of the brain responsible for your sight. Here's the truth. No matter what type of glass.
All right, good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back into the Short War video. And today we got big news coming out of Russia that Russian authorities are accusing France of preparing.
Let me see. Can y'all hear the video? Is it coming through clear?
Con, I can hear you, King.
Okay, all praises. You can hear the video on YouTube, right?
Con.
All right.
A contingent of about 2,000 troops to Ukraine to fight on behalf of the Ukrainian soldiers. And we're also learning that the Russian Navy has a new commander-in-chief, and also the attacks in Belgorod are ramping up, and they continue even to this day.
So, this is 11 minutes. I can't really get into all 11 minutes, right? But as you can see, they're starting to make moves. They got new chiefs going on. They're moving people around, right?
A very big fashion. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into our first article of the day, which is from Nexta. And we can see here that the director of the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Narishkin, has said that France is preparing 2,000 troops to be sent to Ukraine. And
France is starting to deploy troops to Ukraine. Now we see how Russia reacted with America doing this. Russia was about ready to blow America off the map, right? So now that you got France in this thing, it says Russia warns France not to send soldiers to Ukraine, right? So what do you think? You got two powers, and they're both sending, soldiers kind of over to Ukraine for not financial, but for help, right? And Russia's already going at it with Ukraine. So how do you think Russia's going to respond with that?
Now, first off, before I go any further, remember this is the Russians saying this, so take it with a grain of salt because they like to lie quite a bit. But he says,
and Esau is proud, man. He said they like to lie quite a bit, and they do bluff. I ain't gonna lie, they do bluff a little bit, right? But Esau, Esau's proud. He's kind of gonna say what he's gonna say, and whatever happens next, it just happens, right?
That Russia has information that France is already preparing a military contingent to be sent to Ukraine, and initially it will be about 2,000 people. And according to Narishkin, such a large unit will not be able to be transferred discreetly, so it will become a target for the Russian military. It also says here that the Le Monde French.
So he's saying it's going to become a target for the Russian military, right? Now their aim isn't just on, okay, we got to make sure the U.S. stops aiding Ukraine. Now they have to worry about France, right? Which I'm sure they were already kind of, when you have certain war games going on, you have to kind of take everything into consideration, right? But they're also now France is sending over these troops, right? Now they have to take France into as a big major part. Like, that's just something else for them to worry about, right?
French newspaper today published a column by General Pierre Schill, who's the chief of staff of the French army, in which he wrote that France is not immune to the tensions emerging around the world and that the country is preparing for the most difficult battles ahead. So, like I said, take this all with a grain of salt.
And you kind of see this, you don't know what's going to happen next, right? Who's going to strike who, right? Right now, we're playing a big waiting game, right? We're waiting to see who's going to strike first, right? We see that it's a lot of little things. It's like, to put it in the simplest terms possible, it's like a lot of people are being petty against Russia, right? And they're waiting for Russia to react. And how Russia is going to react is what I'm led to believe is going to kick this thing off in full effect. However Russia reacts, I'm led to believe. Now I'm just a man, you know. I'm not the most high, right? But I'm led to believe how Russia reacts to this, and as more and more, you know, countries and parties get involved, right, and as more and more troops are being sent out, right, I'm led to believe that it ultimately is going to blow up into a full blown war, right?
Hey, Salak,
You got it, King.
just a quick point, man. I seen an article today that says the troops are actually landed successfully in Russia. So you got the French troops; they're in Russia. That's an invasion.
Yeah,
but it's not broadcast. It's not known about why. That's how when Russia attacks, they can say, "Well, y'all killed 2,000 of our troops, man." See that? That's that witchcraft and sorcery that we was talking about, man. Not telling the whole truth, but a little bit of it, man. Right? Just going into, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's finna be war.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? You know, in the 70s, you had those protesters. War. Who? What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Now they're not going to have that, man. Now you're going to have the Russian. They want war. Right? You kind of won't be able to enter into Russia no more, man. Salaki, I yield. Go ahead, King.
No, you good. You know, I ain't gonna get into this whole video because it's 11 minutes long. And let's see, we about almost 50 minutes in, right? But as a brief synopsis, you know, definitely go back and do your own research, right? You can see that Russia is kind of starting to get a little pissed off, man. You know, they could kind of tolerate America's, kind of rebellion. I'll use rebellion. They could kind of tolerate US's rebellion, right? Sending aid to Ukraine, but now is, you know, they got another threat coming on, and then there might be another threat, and then another one, and then until this thing is fully, you know, full-fledged kicked off, right?
But for right now, we look at this allegation as sort of aligning itself with France, maybe, and saying that we'll sort of indirectly.
Unfortunately, civilians are suffering from Russian drone attacks. So our message today is pretty clear. The United States will not allow Ukraine to lose. So they're double down, right? They said, I double dog dare one of you Russians, if any of y'all think that Ukraine is opted out of this thing, think again, right? It says our coalition will not allow that, and the entire free world will not allow it, right? Who is this entire free world? You know, right? So that just goes to show these nations are very proud, man. In the sense that they're led to believe that what they have is sufficient enough, man. And we already know the United States is unprepared for what's coming, right? We've seen the defectiveness of their defense system, right? Malfunctions, right? We've seen the defect their defunct military. We've seen it, right? We live here. We have to see it, right? So for them to make statements that the United States will not allow Ukraine to lose, and that's kind of bold, you know. They putting their foot down.
Support them in the.
We kind of seen it with we already proved that their system is flawed, man. With what them intercontinental supersonic ballistic missiles, man.
Yep.
Right. We already see how fast it is that surface to air missile goes, man. And how American system, hey, they did it in a simulation and it failed each and every time.
It failed.
Right? America thinks that the invention of the railgun that we talked about, that's going to save them, man. But they ain't going to do nothing because what? The Lord has spoken against this place. And the Lord is going to throw it down with a mighty hand. But that's it, King.
Khan, you absolutely right, King. You know, the Lord is going to throw down. You know, the Lord said, I build, you know, and I throw, you know, he throws down. I kill and I make alive, right? So obviously it all stems back to trusting in the Most High. Right, that's first and foremost, right? But we understand, you know, these war games, you know, things are ramping up, you know, and as time goes on, as the, you know, things pass by and as the days seem shorter, you know, the Most High say he's going to make these days short for the elect's sake, right? Or willing we be a part of that number, right? We also got to remember, right? We got to get our spirit in check before these things go down and while they go down and after they go down, right? So that's just something to keep, at the forefront of your mind, right? The Lord said, don't fear these things because these are just rumors, right? Let me get that in the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And if you got any precepts, brother, you got it. Right? But it's let me share my screen, share this tab. Right? It says verse 7. Don't want the point. I'm gonna get verse 4 because there's some people that might not kind of read this chapter. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. So these are just rumors of wars. These are threats. They could be empty threats. They could be fulfilled, right? But, these are just rumors of wars at this point. So the Lord said, see that ye be not troubled. So we can't be troubled for these things or of these things. It says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? So we see that this is a turning point in the century. We see that this is something that it's like a landmark, right? This is something that, we can see we can see that the Most High is using this to advance these nations, right? These nations are using this to advance their military, stocking up on what they need. So we should be spiritually stocking up in the same sense, right? So with that, I'm gonna play a little bit more and then we can move on.
Hey, Salah, you mind going down to verse 13? That's Matthew 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go down to verse 13, Baba Show.
Verse number 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Right. So hey, we got to endure in this thing, and what's going to help us endure, man? Our faith, man. Our love, man, and ultimately Isaiah 33:6, right? Our wisdom, man. The things that we've held up by the Most High God and taken into our minds, man. Right? It's wisdom to cry out unto the Lord. Right? When you read these scriptures, you got to understand that nobody in these scriptures knew what was going to happen to him. When David was stuck in the land of the Philistines, he didn't know if he was going to survive. All thing he knew is that he could pray to the Lord, man. Hey, when Elisha, he was being attacked, man, and he had to say, hey, if I be a man of the Lord, call down fire from heaven. He didn't know that was going to happen, but he had faith in the Most High God and believed that the Most High God was going to protect him and save him, man. Same thing with all of these mighty men and women in the Bible, man. In the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 7, with the wife and the 7 Hebrew children, man. Nobody knew what was going to happen. They just had faith, man. Now, granted, they died, but they died what? Stiffly for the name of the Lord, man. And the Lord's going to bring them back in that thing, man. And Lord willing, they're of the elect, man. Right? So, just going, adding on to the brother's wisdom. Go ahead, King.
Khan. Yeah, that's right. Ultimate goal, a project endure until the end, right? So I'm gonna get a little bit more on this because this guy has a lot of screenshots, right? And this is ultimately what this is kingdom rising up against kingdom, right? And not only kingdom against kingdom, right? But this is a kingdom divided among, within itself. You got Edomites from other lands trying to come up against Edomites, right? And both of their blessing is the sword. They got the same blessing, right? They're rising up against each other, right? How do you think this is going to end? Edomite v. Edomite, Esau v. Esau, Shedemite v. Shedemite, Edo child v. Edo child. How is this going to end? Is this going to end with a TKO? Both their blessing is the sword. They're evenly matched. Well, I can't say evenly matched. This is a land of confusion where they got transsexuals in the military. So, it's looking bad. I go as to say it's unevenly matched, right? But this is a kingdom divided against itself. Let me get that in the scripts. right? Oh, I gotta share my screen. Right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 11 and verse 17. But he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom, right? This isn't just talking about Israel. This is every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth, right? So you can't have those of the same nation, right? Though they may be separated and live in different countries and have their different policies and diplomacies and things of that sort, they're divided against themselves, right? What do you think is going to happen when this thing really heats up, right? These curses, a lot of times we don't realize, but the Most High, hey, some of these heathens got the curses on them, man, secretly. You know, they hate their own people, right? They want to protect the asset more than a person. That's how these Edomites are. They're ready to protect their assets, right? Their physical things rather than their own people. That's how all these Edomites work. Don't think just because the Edomite kind of gives you high fives and says you're doing great means that Edomite is there for you. He kind of likes you. He enjoys working with you. No, he sees you as an asset, right? That could get him more money, right? And that's how he sees his own nation, right? That's how these people are. You know, I believe the name of Esau's son is my God is fine gold. That's what it means. Right? Eliphaz, right? So, you know, it's a house. He's been a house divided against himself because he's sought nothing but riches through deceit, right? Riches gotten by deceit, evil, filthy lucre, right? So that's it on that. You know, we ain't got to get too much on that, even though there's more. Like I'll just go through it real quick through the spirit. Let me share this tab. It says, you know, Russia, they're trying to protect their oil. Let me skip through. Right, Russia plans to protect oil and gas facilities from Ukrainian drones with the help of air defense systems. And sometimes you also got to take these whistleblowers and these news sources with a grain of salt. But you know, these seem to be trusted sources. As far as we can tell, you know, we can only take the information that we're given and to, you know, chew the meat and spit out the bones, right? But yeah, Russia is warning France, man. So as we can see, you know, things are starting to kind of start to amp up. You know, we say that all the time, but we really see the games that Esau is playing. We see, you know, the deception that's going on within America and the deception that's going on without, you know, from the outside looking in. So with that, I'm gonna hop into this next article. If you got any other point, Potter, you know, the floor is yours.
Let's go.
Con. Right, so I'm gonna share this tab through the spirit. This says developing reports of leprosy cases are spreading in Florida. Of course, it's Florida, right? It has to be Florida, right? So you have reports of leprosy spreading in Florida, right? We'll get into it because this is a so-called I believe a Christian guy is behind this website, I believe, right? It says leprosy is on the rise again, and like you have her examining, you know, a clean leper. Esau is a clean leper, right? So she's kind of they've been spread out throughout the goddamn world, you know. You can't escape these clean lepers, man, right? And she's kind of examining them. It's kind of clear, you know, but that's a stock image, right? But it says leprosy is on the rise again in the United States, particularly in Florida, concerning disease specialists, according to according to the World Health Organization. So we know about who, right? We know about them during COVID. We know about them and their, you know, their so-called philosophies. You know, you can't get too caught up in the doctrines of this world and the medicines of it because, you know, they're the ones who said that, I believe not too long ago, they said that COVID was the equivalent to the flu, right? And they started kind of downplaying the COVID, right? You had this worldwide pandemic phenomenon, right? And now they're downplaying it as just it's like a common cold, right? So that's who? That's the World Health Organization. So just for context, that's what they deal with, right?
Man, if I get in there,
you got it.
Hey, Con, man. You know, when it comes down to it, man,
You know, Esau's a clean leper. Well, who's really being leprous? Who's really getting that leprosy, man? Right? People of color, man. That's how you know it's a leprosy. Because the Edomite, he's going to say, oh, no, that's just my skin tone, man. Right? They do get whiter, but they'll think it's flakes or freckles or whatever, man. When they come down to it, hey, look, none of these people are going to be able to, none of these people are going to keep the laws of leprosy to be cleansed, man. Right? Because the laws of leprosy, you got to be cleansed, and then your house got to be cleansed. Everything that's in your house needs to be cleansed, that you sleep upon, that you sit upon, right? These are the laws of leprosy that the Most High God put in place. But Esau, he said to hell with it, man. Right? So that's why, hey, having the Lord on your side, having that faith, right, it's very beneficial for you, man, because it keeps you away from what? Unclean things like this. And if you did get stricken by it, right, it is nothing for the Lord to turn that thing away. Did he not make Miriam leprous and left her leprous for a day before he fixed her? Did not he turn Moses' leprosy in an instant, man? Hey, bro, it's the same thing for us, man. Right? Go ahead, King.
You know, you really believe these Edomites are kind of gonna go into the word, which they can understand. It's not for them. They're gonna go into the word, kind of dissect Leviticus 13 and 14 about the leprosy, and kind of apply. They want to be clean lepers, right? And they're gonna start shaving, right, and doing the purification. No, you know, these Edomites don't even wash their hands when they cook, man. Let alone, you know, kind of shower every day.
When they cook, don't wash their hands when they cook. They're gonna put on that nasty ass button up with the collar, roll up their sleeves, and go into work, man, and cook your food.
Right.
With leprosy, man. What the
let me
leprosy nuggets is right here, man.
Let me jump on there real quick. So I was cooking, man. Salaki, giving it out so mighty. Can you bring up the book of I don't know if you did this already, Leviticus 15 and 31?
I got you. Right. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 15, and verse number 31. It reads, "Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness."
From their what?
From their uncleanness.
And what is leprosy? Uncleanness. And even if you want to take that even to a deeper level spiritually, you know, Esau is one of the most unclean beasts of the field, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's one thing our people want to walk around with the enemy hand in hand, join hand in hand. They're going to get thrusted through, because the Lord already is telling us to be a holy nation, a holy people, and we're supposed to be a clean nation in the sight of the Lord, in the sight of men, because we're the standard. What does Deuteronomy 4 and 5 say? This will be your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nation. So when they look upon us, they see a clean people. They see a wise people, an understanding people. We understand you can't be dirty. We understand you have to wash your hands and then cook your food. We understand you can't lie down with animals. We understand you can't just be walking downtown with black feet at the bottom. And you know what's sad to see? I see a bunch of our own people when we go out into the highways and byways walking downtown to get drunk. What the sisters do? They take off their heels. Mm-hmm. And they walk in barefoot downtown, twerking in their uncleanliness, man. And continue on there, King.
And not only that, but it says, "And thus shall ye separate the children of Israel," right? Oh. It says that they die not in their uncleanness when they defile by tabernacle that is among them.
And what is the tabernacle? What did the Lord say? Your body is what? A temple. You understand what I'm saying? So you walking around defiling the Lord's temple. And this is specific. Like I said, let the heathens be heathens. Let them be defiled and unclean. Let them be what beasts they are of the field, man. This is specifically for our people to regain and maintain the integrity of the Lord, to be a holy, separate, clean people and righteous in the eyesight of the Lord. Let me get one more. Leviticus 18 and 24, Bible stuff.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 18, and verse number 24. It reads, "Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, For in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you.
And that's a major thing, man. The things that these people do in this land that our people love to be consumed with, these are the things that defile the land's defiled with, man. You understand? And you wonder why you got ancient diseases coming back, polio outbreaks, leprosy. You have mumps. I seen something that the mumps is back, bro. I don't even know if people even know what mumps are. You understand what I'm saying? And
chicken pox.
you got and now they got what the new stuff. They don't got chicken pox, they got monkey pox, man. And
Yep.
that's from defiling yourself abominably, man on man, woman on woman, whatever it may be, from the things the Lord said will be deadly to you. And who's getting these things? Jake.
They'll tell Jake he got monkeypox, nigga.
Hey, you might as well call him nigga pox. Because that's exactly what they're basically calling you. You know what I'm saying? And these are really, and it said defile not yourselves of any of these things. So all the things you see that Esau promoting for you to go do, get high, you know what I mean? Pop your sisters, man turn into woman, woman turn into man, you know what I mean? Love Christmas, love idols, love the cross, love Buddha, love your chakras, love your energy, love pork, love the shrimp, crab, and lobster, because that's what, if you got it, you ain't afraid to spend it, spirit. All those things are abominable, and the nations are defiled in those things. So our people have been scattered between what? The nations. And if you are, what did the Lord say? Go not into the way of the heathens. And if you strive to be like the heathens, guess what you become? Because the nations are defiled. You become defiled. And if he casts them out, guess what the Lord's going to do to you? Cast you out.
Cast you out.
Now you over that.
Right? I want to show this real quick because this article is folly, man. Honestly, right? It says about 200,000 cases of the disease occur every year in 120 countries worldwide and are often associated with contact with armadillos. And I'm gonna rest right there. Right. This is only the first line of the article.
Bro. I don't know what it is, but they got the armadillo spirit. They over here talking about 200,000 people playing with armadillos.
What Jake is playing with armadillos?
I'm gonna tell you like this. I live in Texas, and I have not seen an armadillo running around. And if I saw an armadillo, you know what I'm gonna go do? Nothing. I'm not gonna be like, let me go pick up the armadillo, that thing that looks.
Play with the armadillo.
Let me go make an armadillo bowl, eat my cereal out of it. I want to know what an armadillo tastes like. I don't care. I would never want to even think about that disgusting. That's disgusting to me. I don't see that. I don't understand how people eat alligator and all that shit either. Like that looks just nasty. You understand what I'm saying? So when the Lord told us we can't eat these things, I was like, Khan, I get it.
That's that New Orleans spirit.
I would say something, but I'm just gonna be wise and hold my peace. Because I know a brother from New Orleans probably had the armadillo alligator spirit at one point in time. But
it says it primarily affects the skin, peripheral nerves, mucosa of the upper respiratory tract, and eyes, and causes symptoms including skin lesions, which may be lighter or darker than the skin, than the surrounding skin, and may lack sensation. So you're going numb with this thing, man. What the hell is happening? Right? This isn't. It says other symptoms can include numbness or weakness in the hands and feet, nerve damage, and in severe cases, deformities and disabilities, all because you wanted to play with armadillos, man.
Hey, brother, pull up the last comment in the chat, man. We gotta say something about that. The sister said Esau just put a liver in Jake, a pig liver in Jake, saying he's no longer diabetic. You understand what he is? He's a walking abomination.
Literally.
Brother got the carcass of a pig you know, what did the Lord say? You know, it's not what goes in the man that defiles him, because what goes in him goes out through the draw, right? So that's why you come in contact with it. You unclean until what? The even, because your body gonna get rid of it. You're gonna cleanse yourself, wash yourself. You're gonna have that momentary of being unclean because you touched an unclean animal, right? Or an unclean thing. This brother's walking around, and I bet you he's proud, and I bet you he's like, the white man's the greatest thing since water that could be held in the cup. You know what I mean? Sweet baby, white baby Jesus. He's praying to Steve-O for real, because he has been basically, the Lord gonna see you. Imagine that, brother. If the Lord, he walking down the street and the Lord come across him, and the Lord,
You know, yeah.
You see that brother with that pit, he gonna be like, shing, immediately.
It's over with.
It's a wrap, and he gonna be like, you got your life spared for a moment, just to get cut down in the last days, man.
Now imagine if this brother comes across, Israelites, and he kind of start to get the word, How do you respond to, well, brother, how do you respond to Leviticus 11 and then, outwardly say, well, I do have a pig liver. Huh?
I'm led to believe that if you try to teach that brother the word, his spirit would naturally reject it, because his body is one with swine, man. The unclean thing.
Your body is one. It's like a cyborg, man. You have pig, half man.
Man, see, Jacob let Esau put anything in him, man. You understand?
He was probably the test subject.
Yeah. Goes back to slavery, how they used to experiment on us and do all that different type of stuff, man. You know what I mean? And now they believe in their science. And that's so sad. Jake will believe in the Edomite putting in a pig liver in him, but he won't pray and repent and quit eating shrimp and lobster.
Yep. He won't repent for the thing that messed up his liver.
Destroyed.
Man, it's bad out here. Hey, this is why we got to stay girded up in this thing, and stay meditating on the law. Honestly, if the brother meditated on the law, he would know that, like the sister said, the Lord said we're not even supposed to touch a pig. But that's all I got. I'm done.
All right, King. Well, you know how we do it. Shit, let's get our little last closing precept in there real quick.
To the spirit, God. I've done heard it all today.
It's one of those things, man. It definitely will vex your spirit. It's just crazy.
Right. This is I got the book of Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16. This I say, let me share my screen. This I say, then walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Right. So as long as your mind is occupied on the things that are spiritual, you can't go wrong. Right. Your mind is not going to be occupied in doing things that are carnal, walking carnally, doing the things that the cares of the world are doing. Right. Your mind is not going to be tempted to go to the club tonight, and it's Friday night. Why? Because you're walking in the spirit. The scriptures say, we got to walk in faith and not by sight. Right. So in order to walk in that faith, we got to walk in spirit. Right. So I yield on that point.
Hey, grab me Psalms 97 and 10 Bible stuff.
I got you. This the book of Psalm chapter 97 and verse number 10. It reads, yea, that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked.
All praise to the Most High. It's pretty plain upon the table. So for all those say that, man, I love the Lord. You know what I mean? I got a personal relationship with the Lord. That means you're going to hate the evil, man. You're going to hear the stories of pig livers getting put in Jake, and that's going to make you upset. You're going to see your sisters, your brothers out here breaking the Lord's commandments. That's going to make you sick, because you to the point where you hate the evil. Then if you're an evil man, hey, I hate what the Lord hates. You understand? And he says he preserveth the souls of his saints. So if you love the Lord, you hate the evil, that means you keeping what is good, keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, and the faith in him, right? And he's gonna deliver. And that's only pertaining to who? The saints. Let's get it right, people. This is not an everybody inclusive type of salvation. This is for the saints of the Lord, the Israelites. And if you Israelites do what you need to do and hate the evil that you see your people commit and the evil that these other nations promote and push forth onto your people, he's going to deliver you out of the hand of the wicked in these last days. And that's what you call salvation. And I'll yield with that.
Paddy, you got anything?
The classic, 2 Corinthians 13:5, Bob Shaw.
All praise. Can't go wrong with that one. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse number 5. It reads, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves, know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates.
Hey, man, Lord willing, we can bring out this precept, right, until we die, right, or until the chariots fly, whatever comes first, right. With that, Israel, I love y'all. Shalom.
Hey, we love y'all. Hey, appreciate y'all joining in. And, you know, till next week, hey, shalom.
Love you, Israel. Shalom. Kwame Yashrael.
Kwame Yashrael.